One rainy night revealed the affair that destroyed a $1 million marriage. The Whitmore mansion looked most beautiful during storms. That was what people said. When rain swept in from the Pacific and rolled over the Malibu cliffs, the glass walls of the mansion caught every flash of lightning. The ocean below turned black and silver. The palm trees bent in the wind. Water ran down the tall windows like tears, making the whole house look less like a home and more like a jewel trapped inside the weather. From the outside, the mansion was breathtaking. Inside, it was lonely. Nathan Whitmore had built the house 5 years after marrying Victoria. He had bought the cliffside property after closing the largest real estate deal of his career. Architects flew in from New York. Designers came from Milan. Every room was planned with precision. Marble floors, glass walls, a private cinema, an infinity pool, a wine cellar, a master suite facing the ocean, and a private lounge with windows so wide it felt as if the whole sea had been invited inside. To Nathan, the house was proof. Proof that he had made it. Proof that his childhood poverty had not followed him forever. Proof that Victoria would never have to worry about anything. At 46, Nathan was one of California's most successful real estate developers. He owned hotels, luxury apartment buildings, and private estates from Los Angeles to San Francisco. He was respected, feared, and admired. He knew how to turn empty land into profit and ruined buildings into gold. But he did not know how to fix the silence in his marriage. Victoria Whitmore was the kind of woman people remembered. She was graceful, beautiful, polished, and calm in public. At charity dinners, she wore designer gowns and smiled beside Nathan as if she had never known sadness. At business parties, she remembered investors' names, asked about their children, and made the room feel softer simply by entering it. People called them a perfect couple. A self-made millionaire and his elegant wife, a mansion above the ocean, a marriage worth envying. But nobody saw Victoria sitting alone in the private lounge at midnight while Nathan answered calls in his office. Nobody heard the cold dinners, the unfinished conversations, the quiet resentment. Nobody knew that Victoria sometimes walked through the mansion barefoot just to hear another sound besides the ocean and the air conditioning. Luxury can be loud to the world and silent to the person living inside it. Victoria had everything money could buy. But she no longer felt seen. Cole Bennett entered their lives as part of a security upgrade. After a series of robberies in wealthy coastal neighborhoods, Nathan decided the mansion needed a better system. Cameras, motion sensors, smart locks, emergency lighting, private gate controls, everything. Cole came recommended by one of Nathan's business partners. He was 32, tall, confident, with sharp eyes and the calm voice of a man trained to make others feel safe. He had worked private security for executives, celebrities, and politicians. He was polite around Nathan, professional around staff, and careful around Victoria. At first, the first day Cole came to inspect the mansion, Nathan walked him through the property. Side entrance is vulnerable, Cole said, examining the garden gate. Too much tree cover. Someone could stand there without showing up clearly on the driveway camera. Nathan nodded. Fix it. Cole looked toward the glass walls. Beautiful house. It is. Hard to protect glass. Nathan gave a dry smile. That sounds like a metaphor. Cole glanced toward the balcony, where Victoria stood looking out at the ocean. Sometimes it is, he said. Nathan did not notice the way Cole looked at her. Victoria did. Later that afternoon, she found Cole in the private lounge checking a motion sensor near the window. You think the house is unsafe? She asked. Cole turned respectfully. No house like this is ever completely safe. That must be comforting. He smiled slightly. I'm not paid to comfort people. I'm paid to be honest. Victoria looked at him for a moment. That's rare here, she said. Cole understood more than she meant to reveal. And that was where the danger began. Not with desire, with recognition. Over the next weeks, Cole became part of the mansion's rhythm. He came and went with equipment cases. He tested alarms. He installed cameras near the side gate and pool deck. He updated the control panel in Nathan's office. He explained the system to Victoria because Nathan was often too busy to listen. If this light turns red, Cole said one afternoon, pointing to the screen, the side camera is offline. You'll get an alert on your phone. Victoria stood beside him, close enough to smell the rain on his jacket from outside. And if someone comes through the side gate, you'll know. She smiled faintly. That sounds impossible. What does? Knowing when someone is coming before it's too late. Cole turned his head. Their eyes met. He did not answer immediately. Then he said, "That depends on whether you're watching the right door." Victoria looked away first. That night, Nathan came home late. Victoria had made dinner because she still did that sometimes, even though she hated herself for hoping. He walked in at 10:15, phone pressed to his ear, suit jacket over one arm. He mouthed sorry and went straight into his office. The dinner cooled on the table. Victoria sat alone with 2 untouched plates, listening to the murmur of Nathan's voice behind glass. At 10:48, her phone buzzed. "Cola Bennett. The side gate camera is working now. You're covered." It was a professional message. She should have replied professionally. Instead, she typed, "Covered isn't the same as safe." There was no reply for 3 minutes. Then, "No, it isn't." Victoria stared at those words longer than she should have. The affair did not begin all at once. It grew from conversations that should have ended sooner. Cole began checking in after system tests. Victoria began asking questions she already knew the answers to. He noticed when she looked tired. She noticed that he listened without glancing at a phone. One afternoon, Nathan canceled a lunch with her because investors arrived early. Victoria stood in the foyer wearing a white dress and holding her purse when his message came. "Can't make it. Sorry. Rain check?" She laughed once, bitterly. Cole was in the hallway replacing a sensor battery. "You all right, Mrs. Whitmore?" She locked the phone. "Do I look all right? Do you want an honest answer?" "No." "Then yes." Despite herself, she smiled. That smile became the first thing she gave him that belonged to no one else. Soon, the messages became personal. Victoria told Cole the mansion felt empty. Cole told her people often confuse protection with love. Victoria said Nathan gave her everything except time. Cole said time was the only thing that proved love was real. Those words were dangerous because they sounded like truth. Nathan, meanwhile, remained blind in the way busy husbands can be blind. He saw the clean house, the polished wife, the perfect social calendar, and thought stability meant happiness. He did not see how often Victoria stood at the edge of confession and turned away. He did not see Cole becoming the person who knew her sadness best. And when Nathan finally noticed something had changed, it was already raining somewhere in the distance. The storm was forecast for Thursday. Local news warned that heavy rain would hit the coast by evening. Flooding was possible near low roads. Strong winds were expected overnight. Nathan had to leave for San Francisco that morning to close a property deal. He stood in the bedroom packing a black suitcase while Victoria watched from the window. "You shouldn't drive tonight if the storm gets bad," she said. "I'm flying. I'll be fine. What about coming back?" "I'll stay until Saturday if I need to." She nodded. He paused, folding a shirt. "You'll be okay here?" Victoria almost laughed. That question always came when he was leaving, never when he was staying. "I'll be fine," she said. Nathan looked at her. "I know I've been busy." "You're always busy. This deal matters." "They all matter," he sighed. "Victoria." She turned from the window. "Do you ever wonder what happens to a marriage when every conversation begins with an apology?" His face softened with guilt. "After this, I'll take time off." "You always say after. This time I mean it." She wanted to believe him. A part of her still loved him deeply. She loved the man who had once driven 3 hours just to bring her soup when she had the flu. She loved the man who had proposed with tears in his eyes because he was so afraid she would say no. She loved the man hidden somewhere beneath contracts, hotels, investors, and late-night calls. But love can become exhausted when it is always asked to wait. Nathan kissed her forehead before leaving. "Lock everything tonight," he said. "Storms bring out idiots." Victoria smiled faintly. "I thought security brought out peace of mind." "It does." "Then I should be very peaceful." He did not know how to answer. His driver took his suitcase. Nathan left through the front entrance and got into the black SUV. Victoria watched from the glass wall as the car descended the long driveway and disappeared beyond the gate. Her phone buzzed before the gate fully closed. "Cole, is he gone?" Victoria stared at the message. Rain had not started yet, but the sky over the ocean was already dark. She typed, "Yes." Cole replied, "Do you want me to come tonight?" Her thumb hovered. There was still time not to do this. There is always a moment before betrayal when the door is still closed. Victoria opened it. "Come after dark. Use the side entrance." By 8 o'clock, the storm had arrived. Rain hammered the glass walls. Wind shook the palms so hard their shadows moved like frantic hands across the floors. The ocean roared below the cliff, invisible in the darkness except when lightning tore through the sky. Cole arrived soaked. Victoria opened the side door and pulled him inside quickly. "You shouldn't have come," she said. He wiped rain from his face. "You asked me to." "I know." "Then don't say it like I broke in." She closed the door and locked it. The side hallway smelled of rain, wet leather, and his cologne. Cole removed his jacket. Water dripped onto the marble floor. Victoria looked down. "You're making a mess." He smiled. "Then let me clean it." "This isn't funny." "No," he said, stepping closer. "It isn't." They stood in the hallway listening to the storm. The mansion felt cut off from the rest of the world. That isolation made the secret feel safer than it was. In the private lounge, Victoria poured wine. She told herself Cole was only there because the storm made her anxious. She told herself nothing had to happen. She told herself she could still end this before it became unforgivable. Cole sat across from her, watching rain slide down the windows. "This house is unreal in weather like this," he said. "It feels like the ocean wants to break in." "Maybe it knows something inside needs breaking." Victoria looked at him. "Why do you talk like that?" "Like what?" "Like you know me." His expression softened. "I know you're lonely." She looked away. "Nathan knows that too," she whispered. "Does he?" The question cut too deep. Victoria took a sip of wine with shaking fingers. "My husband is not a bad man. I never said he was. He works hard." "Yes. He built this life." Cole leaned forward. "And where are you in it?" Victoria closed her eyes. That was the sentence that undid her. In San Francisco, Nathan's meeting collapsed before it began. The storm grounded several executives in Los Angeles. The lead investor's flight from Seattle was canceled. By 5 o'clock, the deal dinner had been postponed until Monday. Nathan stood in the hotel lobby, irritated, while rain streaked down the windows outside. He called Victoria. She answered on the fourth ring. "Hey," she said. Her voice sounded breathless. Nathan frowned. "Everything okay?" "Yes. The storm is loud." "Power still on?" "For now." "You're alone?" There was a pause. In that pause, Nathan heard something he had not expected. Fear. Victoria looked toward Cole, who stood silently near the lounge doorway. "Yes," she said. "I'm alone, just waiting for the storm to pass." Nathan looked out at the rain in San Francisco. Something in him softened. He imagined her alone in that huge glass house, lightning over the ocean, pretending not to be afraid because she hated sounding weak. "I might come back tonight," he said. Victoria's face changed. "Tonight? If I can get a car, meeting's canceled." "You shouldn't. Roads are dangerous." "I know the roads." "Nathan, don't be reckless." "I'm not. I just don't want you alone in that house during a storm." She closed her eyes. The irony was almost unbearable. "I'm fine," she said. "I'll call you when I decide." He ended the call. Victoria turned toward Cole. He might come back. Cole's confidence flickered. "Tonight?" "Yes." "Then I'll leave." He grabbed his jacket, still damp, and moved toward the side hallway. But when he opened the side door, wind forced rain into the house. Outside, water rushed along the stone path. His car, parked near the side driveway, sat at an angle in mud. "Damn it," Cole muttered. "What?" "My car's stuck." Victoria's heart dropped. Cole tried for 15 minutes to move it. The tires spun deeper into the wet ground. Rain soaked him again. Lightning flashed over the trees. When he came back inside, his shoes left muddy prints across the marble. Victoria stared at them. "Cole, I know. Clean it." "I said I know." The power flickered once. Then again. The mansion went dark. Victoria gasped. Emergency lights clicked on seconds later, bathing the hallway in dim red. The security panel beeped. Cole looked toward it. "System reset," he said. "Some cameras may be offline." Victoria's panic sharpened. "Fix it." "I can't fix everything during a power drop." Rain slammed against the windows. The house, once beautiful, now felt like a trap. Nathan decided to drive. His assistant called him reckless. The hotel concierge warned him about coastal flooding. Even the driver service hesitated before assigning a car. But Nathan could not shake Victoria's voice. He had spent years leaving her alone in beautiful rooms. That night, for once, he wanted to come home before she had to ask. The highway was miserable. Rain blurred the windshield. Traffic slowed near flooded sections. Thunder rolled over the dark hills. Nathan sat in the back seat, phone in hand, watching the mansion security app struggle to connect. Several cameras were offline. Side entrance, offline. Private lounge. Signal lost. Main hallway, intermittent. Nathan frowned. He called Victoria again. No answer. He called once more. No answer. His concern became sharper. He texted, "I'm on my way home. Stay inside." No reply. He stared at the message until the screen dimmed. Then the app finally loaded a frozen image from the side entrance camera before the signal failed. It was blurry, dark, rain across the lens. But Nathan saw something. A figure entering through the side door. A man. The timestamp was 8:17 p.m. Nathan sat up slowly. At first his mind offered protection. Maybe security staff. Maybe Cole came to check the system. Maybe there was an emergency. But if Cole was there, why had Victoria said she was alone? The driver glanced in the mirror. "Everything all right, sir?" Nathan looked at the frozen image. "No," he said quietly. "Not yet." Back at the mansion, Victoria was trying to erase the storm's evidence. She wiped muddy footprints from the marble hallway while Cole checked the power panel. She hid his soaked jacket in the closet. She grabbed the wine glasses from the lounge and placed them in the dishwasher, but the storm kept working against them. Water dripped from Cole's shoes. Mud clung to the side rug. The security panel kept beeping. A watch Cole removed while drying his hands remained on the lounge table. Victoria saw it and snatched it up. "You need to stop leaving pieces of yourself everywhere," she snapped. Cole turned. "I'm not doing it on purpose. You shouldn't be here." His expression hardened. "You invited me." "I know that. Then stop acting like I forced my way in." She stood frozen, the watch in her palm. He stepped closer. "You're scared because he might come home. That doesn't make what we are less real." "What are we?" Cole stared at her. "You know." "No," Victoria said, tears rising. "I don't. I know I'm lonely. I know you noticed. I know I let that become something it never should have become. But I don't know if this is love or just an escape from being invisible." Cole's jaw tightened. "You think I'm just an escape?" "I think I wanted to feel wanted. And now?" Victoria looked toward the dark glass walls, where lightning briefly reflected her face back at her. "Now, I think I destroyed myself for attention." Cole's face changed. Before he could answer, headlights swept across the front windows. Victoria turned. Her blood went cold. Nathan was home. Nathan stepped out of the car into heavy rain. The driver tried to hold an umbrella, but Nathan waved him away. Within seconds, his coat was soaked. He stood in the driveway, looking at the mansion. Lights flickered inside. Near the side driveway, half hidden by rain and shrubs, was Cole's car. Mud covered the tires. Nathan walked toward it and touched the hood. Warm. The storm roared around him. He entered through the front door. The mansion was dim under emergency lights. Rainwater shivered down the glass walls. The air smelled of wet stone and something else. Men's cologne. Nathan stood still. "Victoria?" he called. She appeared from the hallway too quickly. "Nathan." Her face was pale. "You came home. I told you I might. I didn't get your message. The power," I called. "I know. I was checking the breaker." He looked down. A faint, muddy footprint remained near the edge of the marble, half wiped. His eyes moved to the hallway closet. The door was not fully closed. Water dripped from inside. Nathan walked toward it. Victoria stepped in front of him. "What are you doing?" "Looking. There was a leak." "In the closet?" She did not answer. He opened the closet door. Cole's soaked jacket hung behind one of Nathan's coats. For a moment, Nathan did not move. Then he reached inside, pulled the jacket out, and held it between them. Victoria's lips parted, but no lie came quickly enough. Nathan's voice was quiet. "Who is here?" "No one." The old instinct spoke before truth could stop it. Nathan looked at her, and the pain in his eyes made her wish he had shouted. "Don't," he said. One word. That was all. "Don't lie again." Victoria began to cry. "Nathan." He walked past her toward the private lounge. On the table, he saw the watch. Cole's watch. 2 fingerprints on the wine bottle. The disabled security screen blinking red. Nathan understood before he saw Cole. That was the worst part. The truth arrived room by room, object by object, until the confrontation became only a formality. Then he heard movement upstairs. Nathan turned toward the staircase. Victoria grabbed his arm. "Please." He looked at her hand on his sleeve. Once, that touch would have stopped him. Not tonight. He pulled away and walked upstairs. Cole stood in the upstairs lounge, trapped between the balcony doors and the hallway. Lightning flashed behind him, making his silhouette appear against the glass. Nathan stopped at the entrance. For several seconds, the storm spoke for all of them. Rain hit the windows. Thunder rolled over the ocean. Victoria came up behind Nathan, crying silently. Nathan looked at Cole, the man he had hired, the man he had trusted to protect the house, the man standing inside it during a storm while his wife lied. Nathan gave a short, humorless laugh. "Security consultant," he said. "I suppose you found a weakness in the system." Cole swallowed. "Mr. Whitmore." "No." Cole stopped. Nathan looked at Victoria. "I came home because I was worried the storm would hurt you," he said. "But the real damage was already inside this house." Victoria covered her mouth. Cole tried again. "This isn't just on her." Nathan turned to him slowly. "Did I ask you?" Cole's face hardened. "She was lonely." Nathan nodded. "Yes, she was." Victoria looked up, surprised by his admission. Nathan continued. "And I failed to see how deeply. I worked too much. I thought the life I built was enough. I confused protection with love." His voice grew colder. "But you do not get to use my failures as a key to my home." Cole had no answer. Nathan stepped closer. "I hired you to make this house safer. You made yourself the danger." Cole looked away. Victoria whispered, "Nathan, I'm sorry." He looked at her for a long time. "How long?" he asked. She closed her eyes. "The messages started 2 months ago. And this? A few weeks. In my house?" Her voice broke. "Yes." Nathan turned toward the glass wall. Rain ran down it in silver lines. Beyond it, the ocean was invisible, but he could hear it. He had built this mansion to stand above storms, but no architect could design against betrayal. Cole moved toward the hallway. "I should go." Nathan blocked his path with only a look. "You should have gone the first night." Cole's face flushed. Victoria said softly, "Leave, Cole." He looked at her. For a moment, Nathan saw anger in him. Not love, not heartbreak. Pride. The anger of a man who had mistaken access for importance. Cole grabbed his jacket from Nathan's hand and walked downstairs. The front door opened minutes later. Rain rushed in. Then the door closed. Cole disappeared into the storm. Nathan and Victoria remained upstairs. The mansion felt enormous around them. Victoria stood near the sofa, shaking. "I didn't mean for it to become this," she said. Nathan did not look at her. "What did you mean for it to become?" She had no answer. "A secret that made you feel better?" he asked. "A punishment for my absence? A little world where you could be wanted without losing the one I paid for?" Victoria flinched. "That was cruel," she whispered. "Yes," he said. "It was." She nodded through tears. "I deserve it." Nathan looked exhausted. "That's not what I want." "What do you want?" "I want to go back to this morning and not leave." Her face crumpled. "I want to go back 2 months and answer whatever conversation you were trying to have before you found someone else to hear it. I tried to tell you." "I know. You didn't listen." "I know." The honesty between them hurt more than shouting. Nathan turned toward her. "But you stopped trying to be heard and chose to be hidden." Victoria sank onto the sofa. "I was lonely." "So was I," he said. "Do you think hotel rooms are warm? Do you think boardrooms love me? I was lonely too. But I stayed faithful to the life I thought we were building." She cried harder. "I know." "No," he said. "You knew I worked. You knew I was busy. You knew I failed you, but did you know I missed you?" Victoria looked up. Nathan's voice broke slightly. "Did you know sometimes I sat in my car outside this house because I didn't know how to come inside and face how far apart we'd become?" She stared at him, stunned. "I thought you didn't care," she whispered. "I thought you didn't want me anymore." That truth hung between them, tragic and useless. 2 lonely people in a $1 million house, both waiting for the other to cross the distance. One had chosen work. One had chosen betrayal. Only one choice had invited another person into their marriage. Nathan removed his wedding ring. Victoria rose quickly. "Please don't." He looked at the ring in his palm. "I don't know what this means tonight." "It means we can still fix it." He shook his head. "No, it means I once believed something I no longer know how to believe." He placed the ring on the glass table. Lightning flashed. For a moment, the ring shone brightly. Then the room went dark again. "I can't stay here," Nathan said. "In the storm?" He looked at her sadly. "The storm is outside. That isn't what I'm leaving." Nathan left before dawn. The rain had weakened but had not stopped. He packed a small bag, called a driver, and walked out without looking back at the lounge. Victoria followed him to the foyer. She wanted to say 1,000 things. That she loved him, that she hated herself, that Cole meant nothing, that the mansion had felt like a cage. that Nathan's absence had broken something in her before Cole ever touched it, but all of it sounded like an excuse. So she said only, "I'm sorry." Nathan paused at the door. "I believe you," he said. Hope flickered. Then he added, "But being sorry does not put the truth back where it was." He stepped outside. Rain touched his shoulders as he walked to the waiting car. Victoria stood behind the glass door, watching him leave the house he had built for her. By morning the storm passed. The sky cleared. Sunlight touched the ocean. The mansion looked beautiful again. That was the cruelest part. Nothing outside showed what had happened inside. The separation became public slowly. At first, friends heard that Nathan had moved into a hotel downtown because of business stress. Then someone noticed Victoria had stopped attending charity events. Then a housekeeper mentioned, too quietly to remain private, that Mr. Whitmore had not slept at the mansion since the storm. Wealthy circles do not need facts to create stories. They only need silence. Rumors formed quickly. There had been another man, a security consultant, a storm, a confrontation. The million-dollar marriage people envied became a cautionary whisper. Victoria remained in the mansion for 2 months after Nathan left. Every room punished her differently. The side entrance where Cole arrived. The hallway where muddy footprints exposed him. The closet where the wet jacket hung. The lounge where Nathan placed his ring. The upstairs glass walls where lightning revealed what darkness had tried to hide. She stopped drinking wine. Stopped answering calls from women who wanted gossip, disguised as concern. Stopped walking barefoot through the mansion at night. The silence she once resented became unbearable now that she had earned it. Cole texted once. "I never meant to ruin your life." Victoria stared at the message. Then deleted it. He had not ruined her life. He had only entered through the door she opened. That truth was harder, but it was finally honest. Nathan changed too. He moved into a quiet apartment in Santa Monica. Smaller than the mansion. No glass walls. No ocean view large enough to impress anyone. Just a bedroom, a kitchen, a balcony, and enough silence to think. For the first time in years, he stopped traveling unless necessary. He delegated more. He ignored calls after 8. His employees whispered that the storm had changed him. They were right, but not in the way they thought. Nathan was not simply heartbroken by Victoria's betrayal. He was also haunted by his own absence. He replayed every conversation. Every time she said she felt alone. Every time he promised after this deal. Every dinner he canceled. Every night he came home and chose email over the woman waiting in the next room. He did not blame himself for the affair, but he could no longer pretend the marriage had been healthy before it happened. That was one of betrayal's cruelest gifts. It revealed not only the final wound, but all the neglected cracks that came before it. 3 months after the rainy night, Nathan agreed to meet Victoria at a counselor's office. She arrived wearing a simple black dress, no jewelry, her face pale but calmer than he expected. He noticed she was not wearing her wedding ring. They sat across from each other in a room that smelled faintly of coffee and paper. Victoria spoke first. "I don't want to explain what I did as if it makes it smaller," she said. Nathan watched her. "I was lonely," she continued. "I was angry. I felt like I lived in a beautiful house waiting for a husband who always came home too late. But I chose what I chose. Cole did not save me. He gave me attention, and I mistook that for love because I wanted it to be easier than telling you the truth." Nathan looked down. "I should have listened," he said. Victoria's eyes filled with tears. "Yes," she whispered. "You should have." He nodded. "But I should have spoken before I betrayed you," she added. The counselor said nothing. The silence allowed the truth to sit between them. Nathan finally said, "The storm didn't reveal something new. It revealed what had already happened." Victoria wiped her tears. "I know. I keep thinking about the rain," he said, "how it made everything visible. The footprints, the jacket, the car, all these little things. I wonder how many signs there were before that I didn't want to see." Victoria closed her eyes. "There were signs," she admitted, "but not all of them were about Cole. Some were about us." "I know." He looked at her. "But Cole is the sign I cannot live with." Victoria nodded slowly. That was when she understood. He might forgive the loneliness. He might even forgive parts of the lie someday, but he would never again feel safe in the marriage. They tried separation for a while, mostly because neither knew how to end something that had once been real. They spoke carefully. They attended counseling twice more. Victoria wrote Nathan a letter apologizing without asking for anything. Nathan read it but did not reply for 2 weeks. When he finally did, his message was short. I believe you are sorry. I am sorry too, but I don't know how to come back to that house or to who we were inside it. Victoria read the message in the private lounge. Rain was falling lightly that day, not a storm, just a soft drizzle against the windows. Still, she felt the old night return. Cole's jacket! Nathan's voice. The ring on the table. She looked around the room and understood that the mansion could never be home again. They listed it for sale the following month. The real estate agent described it as a rare coastal masterpiece. Victoria almost laughed when she read the listing. A masterpiece. Maybe, but not a refuge. The divorce was finalized quietly. No public scandal. No courtroom drama. No revenge. Just papers, signatures, lawyers, and a strange politeness that hurt more than fighting. Nathan kept his company. Victoria kept enough money to begin again. The mansion sold to a tech entrepreneur from Seattle who wanted a dramatic ocean property. On the final day before closing, Victoria walked through it one last time. The rooms were empty. Without furniture, the house echoed. Her footsteps sounded lonely against the marble. She began at the side entrance. The camera Cole had installed still watched the gate. She stared at it for a long moment. How stupid, she whispered. Not because the camera had failed, because she had thought secrecy could make betrayal less real. Then she walked to the hallway closet. Empty. No jacket. No dripping water. Still, she could see it. She entered the private lounge. The ocean stretched beyond the glass, calm under a gray sky. The table where Nathan had placed his ring was gone, packed away by movers. But Victoria stood where he had stood and remembered everything. His voice. I came home because I was worried the storm would hurt you, but the real damage was already inside this house. She sat on the floor and cried. Not the desperate crying of someone afraid of being caught. The quieter crying of someone who finally understood she had been responsible. Loneliness had been real. Nathan's absence had been real. The coldness in the marriage had been real. But betrayal had been a choice. Her choice. The storm had not destroyed the marriage. It had only revealed the damage she had helped hide. A year later, Victoria lived in a smaller home in Ventura. No glass walls, no marble floors, no private security system, no cliffside view that made visitors gasp. Her house had wooden floors, a small kitchen, and windows that opened to the sound of ordinary rain. She worked with a nonprofit that helped women rebuild after divorce and financial dependence. She did not pretend to be wise. She listened more than she spoke. That was something she had learned too late. Nathan moved on slowly. He kept his company but no longer allowed it to consume him. He sold several projects, hired stronger executives, and took weekends off. Once, a magazine asked him what success meant to him now. He answered, coming home before it's too late. Victoria read that line and cried for nearly an hour, not because she thought he wanted her back, because she knew exactly what it meant. They saw each other once, 18 months after the divorce, at a charity event in Los Angeles. It was raining lightly outside. For a moment, both of them noticed. Victoria smiled sadly. Of course it's raining. Nathan looked toward the windows. It seems to follow us. I'm sorry, she said. He nodded. I know. I mean it differently now. I know that too. They stood in silence. Then Nathan said, I hope you're well. I'm trying to be. That matters. She looked at him carefully. Are you happy? He thought about it. Some days, he said. More than before. She smiled through the ache. Good. Then he walked away. This time she did not follow. Years later, Victoria would still think of that rainy night whenever storms rolled in from the coast. Not with the same sharp terror. Not with the same shame that once stole her breath, but with memory. She would remember that rain did not only wash things clean. Sometimes it made hidden tracks visible. Sometimes it turned secrets into footprints. Sometimes it trapped people inside the truth they had tried to outrun. One evening, during a winter storm, Victoria sat by the window of her small home with a notebook open on her lap. Rain tapped the glass gently. She wrote, A beautiful house cannot protect an ugly secret. Then, loneliness can explain why someone reached for the wrong hand, but it cannot excuse opening the door. She paused. The rain grew louder. Finally, she wrote the sentence that had lived inside her since the night Nathan left. A storm may pass by morning, but when it reveals the truth inside a marriage, some damage can never be washed away. Victoria closed the notebook. Outside, the rain continued. Inside, there was no mansion, no secret lover, no husband to deceive, no glass walls pretending beauty was the same as peace. There was only truth. And though truth had cost her almost everything, it had given her one thing the $1 million marriage never could after the lies began: a place to begin again.